Thousands have attended the yearly event here in the seat of our state government. And as a result of broadcasts by Wisconsin Public Television and Wisconsin Public Radio, many more around the state and around the region have watched and listened to this celebration. As the oldest official ceremony in the nation, I am indeed proud to have personally been a part of it and honored to recognize this important and significant achievement. Moreover, this celebration is securely grounded in what we call the Wisconsin idea, an idea to which UW Extension remains committed as a means of both remembering the legacy of Dr. King and to maintaining a bridge to Wisconsin's diverse cultures. As Chancellor, this certainly represents my vision of the continued work ahead for social justice, the work for access to higher education, the work for statewide service to our residents, and of course, the work to continue the celebration of Wisconsin's rich and diverse cultural. I want you to join me in congratulating Jonathan Overby, who has championed this effort for nearly 3 decades. Please join me in a round of applause.
Thank you very much, Chancellor. So here they are, showing some love. The Mount Zion Children's Choir, again with pianist Leola Stanley, Sister Carola Gaines conducting, and a wonderful tune. What's it called? Completely Yes? That's it. Come on, give him a big hand. Our speaker, who's actually lived a tough life on the wrong side of the equation. What do you think about that? It seemed important to have someone who has a real street credibility, someone who's been
was at an expensive banquet. A lot of important people were at that banquet. And there was a very important man there, and he couldn't get his butter, and he was asking waiters for it, and he couldn't get it. And finally he grabbed the waiter and he said, "Excuse me, sir, but I'm a very important person. I've written many periodicals, I've been on many television shows. I went to Harvard University, I own a company, I'm a millionaire." And the man looked at him and said, "What can I do for you?" He said, "Well, I want my butter and I haven't been able to get my butter." And the waiter said, "Do you know who I am?" And the man said, "No." And he said, "I'm the man with the butter." That rose me up from a maximum security prison in Wisconsin to begin speaking in prison, to rise me up to be a beacon of light and hope for the unemployed, for the sick, for the shut-in, for the people who have been disrespected, the people who have lost their jobs, the people that are hungry. Indeed, last night I had trouble sleeping as I do when I'm getting ready to speak, and I was restless. So I left the confines of my hotel room, and I tiptoed and walked over to the Capitol. And I looked and saw all the homeless people that were sleeping at the foot of the Capitol. I walked up to use the bathroom. I had to excuse myself. Sometimes I get a little nervous before I'm going to speak. And I went to the bathroom and there was a homeless man in the bathroom asking for money. Some of us in this very room today are going through something. And we can't make any more of what you should be doing. They ought to do this. They ought to do that. No, you ought to do something. Remember that Dr. King sacrificed his life. What are you going to do? We can sacrifice your time. You can help us. Be a drum major for little black boys and girls and all the minority children that are getting killed senselessly. Be a drum major for the unemployed. Be a drum major for the sick. And never, ever, ever give up on your family. Never give up on these children. And praise God, by God. Never, ever give up on the dream. Option for their children. If Madison will get with the program, that percentage will go up dramatically. And with many in this room, I want to acknowledge President Riley and Chancellor Martin, other higher education leaders, President Barhorst and other higher education leaders here. We have dramatically increased financial aid in this state. And let me tell you a simple fact right now. Despite the worst economic conditions we've had since the Great Depression, we have more students in higher education in this state than at any time in our nation's history. But I've already given you all of those in my talk here today. But declaring that now, therefore, I, Jim Doyle, Governor of the State of Wisconsin, do hereby proclaim January 18, 2010 as Dr. Martin Luther King Day in the state of Wisconsin, and I commend the observance to all.
Salvation is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day, on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at a table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, you in the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, a state sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be able to transform into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will live in a nation where they are not judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama with the vicious races, with the governor having his lips to with the words of interposition.
To share this occasion with my fellow honorees, and to hear of their accomplishments, and to thank the governor and his wife, and to hear about all the progressive things going on in this state. Martin Luther King Jr. often said that the self cannot be self without other selves. And there is a very good friend of mine who is part of my circle of other selves here today. His name is Oscar Morales. You may know Oscar as the chair, I think, of this occasion today, but also father, executive director of the Amigo School, wrestling coach, civic leader. But I know him as a purpose-living leader and engaged in a covenant to practice justice, accountability, and discipline among ourselves and for our community.